back with another Road to Las Vegas Excel World Championship solve. This is battle 8, which is treasure hunt. Now this is an awesome case, one of my favorite cases, so let's talk about what you have to do and then we'll do it. There's going to be an extremely quick solve because my competition lambda set kind of dominates this one. So let's talk about the case. Basically you are going to have a bunch of questions. From question 3 onwards, every single question's answer will be an arrow, which is a direction. And you are then going to go on a treasure hunt and move around this map. So you're going to start at this 41, and that's going to tell you that you should go to game 41, find out what the answer to that question is, which will be an arrow, and that will tell you where your next move is. So if it was down and right, we would move down here, which is 121. So we'd go to game 121 and continue on. Now, as soon as you hit a duplicate number, your treasure hunt is over and that square contains your treasure. So this is such a cool concept for a case. You're kind of like putting a map together as you go through the case, and then all of the bonus questions are you completing that treasure hunt. So the bonus questions are worth actually 450 points, which is a big chunk of the points in this case. On the day, I thought I'd absolutely smash this because I finished it in like 20 minutes, submitted, and thought, oh my god, this could be a really good result. Turns out I would have only got like 8th or 9th or something like that, and I got one singular arrow wrong in one of my questions, so it ruined the whole treasure hunt and I lost out on all the points, so I came like 40th or just something, you know, quite average like that, which I was disappointed at. But regardless, I still love this case, and I'm going to show you, you know, how my lambda set kind of dominates this. There's no new lambdas in this from all the other videos I've already done. There's a playlist in the info box in the corner of the video. You can have a look at that to see the lambdas in action. Anytime a new lambda is introduced, I kind of explain what it does and how I made it. So let's get right into it. This question 1 is just asking us what's in that cell of the treasure hunt map. So as always, I'm going to call this M just so I can refer to it that little bit quicker, and I'm going to say equals indirect M and our cell. Okay, and that's that. Now the next question is asking us to take a starting cell and move on an arrow and find out what number's in that cell. So this is where my lambda set starts to shine. So I have a move on map lambda. I want to move from this cell with this arrow. It's going to take me to K5, and then I want to say indirect, just like we did in the last question, indirect of that. Indirect, sorry, of map and that. Question 3 is asking us to pick out an arrow of a given position. So what's the arrow at position 9, 15, and so on. So that is just mid of this string. We want to start at this position and give us one character from it. So that's nice and easy. Next, we want to know what the most frequent arrow that appears in the list is. And my most of lambda works on arrays and individual inputs. So I can just say most common in that string. So again, that's very easy. Next, we want to split all the arrows out and find out what the highest sum of positions is. So let's just try and explain this. So I have a lambda called split text, which is different to text split, which just splits things out into characters because that comes up so often. So actually I'm going to 2-call that. And then essentially this is position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And I want to add up all the positions of the arrows and figure out which one you know, has the biggest sum of positions. So there's 30 arrows here. So what I want to do is group by, and this is my rows. My values is a sequence of 30. And I want to do sum, and I want to arrange by the highest sum. So this down and right arrow has a sum of 117. If you then put an @ symbol in front of something, it's just going to give you the first item in the array. So that's how we're going to do that. So let's build this up again. So equals group by 2-call of split text of this, and our array is going to be a sequence of 30. Well, that's our value, should I say. We want to do sum, comma, 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 -2 to get things in order, and we want to put an @ in front of it. And we did something wrong. Oh, I've clicked the wrong cell. There we go. And that's done. Now this leads on real nice to the next question. We want to do exactly the same thing, but instead of summing up the positions, we want to multiply them. So you can just change your sum formula here to product, and we're going to get the correct answer. And finally, we want to know which arrow has the longest consecutive streak. So if an arrow appears, 3 times in a row and nothing beats that, then that arrow is your answer. So I actually did this one with data table just because I think it's a little bit quicker. So example 7, xlookup, example 7, we want column B, we want to return G, and then I'm going to again do my to-call of split text of this, and then I'm going to say, the first one's always going to be a 1, and I'm going to say if the next arrow equals the last arrow, then do 1 plus the number before, otherwise do 1. And that's going to give us our streak, and then all I need to do is find the maximum number there. So I'm going to say xlookup the maximum number here, in here, and return the arrows. So down is the answer for the example, and let's put the questions in. Just refresh that, and nice and simple. I have seen this done in single cell. It's a little tricky. I just find that that's way quicker to do it as a data table. Okay, so as you can see, my lambda set makes the questions pretty easy here. So just so this video is not too short, I will very briefly go over what each lambda does. So my move on map lambda just takes a cell and an arrow, and what that lambda is doing in the background is taking the row of the cell plus the row that this arrow would move. I have a little arrows lambda, so you'll see that. So it's taking a cell and an arrow, it's looking up that arrow in this list, and giving me the row and column position. It's then finding the row and column of my input cell and adding on these two things, and then giving me back a new cell address. So that one's fairly simple. My split text lambda is just a mid of a string, and then the sequence of that, the length of that string, and give me 1 character at a time. My most common lambda is basically underneath is just a group by kind of pivot table, and I'm just taking the rows function instead of the sum function, but I'm able to apply that to either an array or a single cell. Yeah, that's all of them that are really used so far. So now let's get into the bonuses. So we basically want to set up our treasure hunt. So let's say start, and it's going to be 41. I want to know what cell that's in, so let's say address. I've spelled that wrong, but who cares? I can see that 41, our start position, is in E5. So let's say E5. Okay. Next, I want to know what arrow is the answer for question 41. So that's just going to be a xlookup 41 in our game number, which is in column B here. And I want to return column E, which is our answers. And then my next cell is going to be move on map, my lambda again, from this cell with this arrow, and that gives us our new cell. We can then find the game number by just saying equals indirect of that cell, and then we can just pull our arrow down, and then we have our treasure hunt on the go. So the final thing to do in our treasure hunt is to find when it finishes, which is when we get a repeat of a game number. Many ways to do that. I'm just going to say xmatch this in everything above. So I'll put a colon and I will lock the first cell, and that should be that. That's going to give me a number wherever we have a match. So here's a number, so 97 is a repeat. We can see it's here and here. So the treasure hunt finishes on 46. So we delete everything out with a number there. That is our full treasure hunt, and then yeah, we can do the bonus question. So which game number is in the 10th spot on the treasure hunt? So I can just say index of our treasure hunt here. Let's lock it and do 10. So we want the 10th row. The next question is asking for the 25th spot, so we can just change that 10 to a 25. What game number is the treasure found? So we can just do equals the final thing there, 46. What is the sum of all the game numbers? So we can just say equals sum of the game numbers. And how many times did you move straight down? So I can just say count if this array, and then comma, find a down arrow, 1 here, done. So that's it. Yeah, super simple with my lambdas, and setting it up on the map makes it really easy because I can just say indirect without referencing any other tabs of my address. That's just picked up from my lambda, which has been used in so many cases now, and job done. So that's a really clean, simple way, well, in my opinion, to do the treasure hunt case. Awesome case. I really liked the premise of this one. It's probably my favourite case. It's between this and the simple case. I just think the idea of piecing together a map that then does all the bonuses is a really cool concept, and I hope that that can be expanded on in future cases. Obviously it's tricky because if you get one thing wrong, it ruins, half the points. So if there's a way to do it so that you can still get some points in the second half would be good. But yeah, it's an awesome case. For me, the easiest case so far, but that doesn't make it bad by any means. So there's a link on the screen to the full playlist of all the 2024 cases. I've solved all of them so far. There's another round coming up tomorrow, so I'll upload that. And yeah, hope you enjoyed.